So in our SmugMug series, we're going to be looking at how to make money from selling your images on SmugMug. And this is a kind of a step-by-step. First things to kind of cover are we've got to price our products right to begin with. If you're going to be selling online instead of in a face-to-face environment, there better be a really great offer because every time a client is just directed to a gallery and allowed to actually buy on their own kind of time, you're probably going to be, minimizing the majority of your sales. So you want to obviously use an online gallery as extra sales rather than the key sales. And I definitely encourage you, if a client is buying digital, as far as a USB or a download or whatever it is, that you create a gallery for them in addition that they can actually go to and buy at a kind of a discounted price or whatever it would be, because otherwise they're just going to be going away with their digital product, digital download, and basically doing something with it that is out of your control, and you're not really going to earn any money from it. So we're better to earn something than nothing. But obviously, as far as the business plan is concerned, you've got to really make sure that your pricing is going to be the right thing. We'll tackle a little bit of that as well now. Okay. So on screen, we've got the kind of the demonstration site for kind of our SmugMug kind of development and everything else. This is the one that we use all the time. And we're going to be paying attention to not so much the design element, but we're going to be looking at it from a client's point of view. So the first thing to kind of be aware of when you're logged out of a SmugMug website is that just because you can see an image in a gallery as a kind of a thumbnail or whatever it is, when you're kind of logged in, it doesn't mean that you can see an image when you're logged out. So this is how a client would basically kind of look at it. Now, obviously, if you didn't want them to actually see an image of any kind, then this is perfect for it. All they'll need to do is click on, you can see the locks are on here. They would just go in then and basically type in their password to go in, and then they have full access into the gallery. They're going to be able to go in at this point and either choose an image to buy from or buy multiple photographs. So please, even though you're going to be doing it from a photographer's point of view in selling your images, make some time to act as a client and go through that experience as well, because otherwise you're really not going to be seeing what the client sees. You need to understand fully how it all works, including what you're going to be selling. So if I kind of click onto 3 or 4 images there, and I basically choose a 10 by 8 and their luster, instantly a client is going to see how much they've spent and what they're going to get and what size they're going to be. There'll also be some editing involved. So when they kind of go into an image, there'll be options to crop and everything else with it. So it is taken out of your control. However, we can put a proof delay in, which will allow us to kind of edit their crop a little bit. But be careful. What you don't want to do is, because these are going to be shipped directly to the client, you want to be aware of what the client is asking for, and you're re-editing it in as far as the cropping is concerned. It could have a consequence, a domino effect and things really. Right, enough about the basics on that. Let's get in. Let's log into the actual website itself. So I'll just close this gallery down. At the bottom of my demo site here, I'll just click into login, and we'll just log straight in to the actual gallery. Go into the site, and this is where we are. Now you can see we're kind of logged in, so we've got kind of the black at the top here. If we were to go now into those client galleries, you'll see what I'm on about is that now it's showing graphics, whereas we haven't set these graphics by default to show on the galleries. So in other words, they're not going to be able to actually see anything, not even this kind of default graphic that you're actually applying to it and things really. So in this case, when we're going into a gallery from a logged in point of view, we can now obviously still see kind of by photos, and this by photo element is slightly different for what the client sees because if we go into it now, you can see what we're into is the standard prices if we were buying them through SmugMug at our own default lab. What I encourage you to do is obviously order directly with your lab for any images that you need specifically. Otherwise, you're going to be losing that 15%, and there's no reason to be doing that at all. Okay, so we can understand the gallery. We can see all these kind of products here, and there's several stages that we need to actually get in place and take control of to begin with. Let's click out of this gallery, and we're going to scroll to the top, and it doesn't matter where we are when we're logged in. We're going to see Sell-in Tools on the top here. Okay, if we click onto Sell-in Tools, this will then actually reveal the price list section here, and we want to click into Manage, and at this point we can see that there are 3 price lists. The one in green is the default one, so that is what is going to be applied as a default to any of the folders. Now, when we're making this film in November 2023, basically you can set a price on a gallery folder. So in other words, the galleries are contained within a folder. If we apply a price to a folder, it prices all the galleries inside the same. The benefit in that is if we want to actually do a kind of a Black Friday offer, then straight away you can change the kind of the pricing on that folder immediately, and it will affect all the galleries. Once upon a time, you used to have to actually set a default gallery price. Every new gallery you created, it would apply that default price, and then you could go in and change it to different prices. I should say at this stage, if we just kind of click across onto the SmugMug plans, depends on what plan you are going for, basically what you're allowed to do. So I'm in a Pro plan, even in my demonstration one, which means I have multiple custom price lists for the photos and galleries. Whereas in the portfolio plan, we're limited in the pricing plans and things. Whereas in the power, we can't sell it. Okay. So in other words, with SmugMug, we're used to kind of store, show, and basically sell. Yes. In basically power, the only thing that you can do is show and store. When we're in Portfolio and Pro, we can now actually show, obviously kind of show images to clients or the world. We can actually store all our JPEG files, PNG files, and MP4 files below 20 minutes into it. But we're set with a controlled price list, but we can sell it here, including download sales. But in the Pro, we can actually use the full kind of multiple price list option. So if you're a portrait photographer and a wedding photographer, you'll probably need Pro, because you want 2 different price lists. But if you're a portrait photographer, say in boudoir, one price list does all. And just goes from that. Okay, right, back into managing the price list. So by default here, if I wanted to delete a price list, because I think we all forget about doing these silly little things, just click on, say, boudoir promotion here, and then you can see straight away we've got the option to delete. They're going to say, are you sure you want to delete it? And at that point, if we click on delete, now we've reduced ourselves down to 2 price lists, boudoir price list and promotions. If I've created a price list, I can go in here and edit. And obviously I can make things the new default or whatever it would be. So into edit. And then at the top here, if I want to make this new one the default price list, the promotions one, I should say, the new price list, I can now say, make this my default price list, apply the changes. And if I go back to manage the prices, you can see the promotions is now the new one. So like I was mentioning to you before, once we've kind of set the pricing, chosen the products, we can kind of work with multiple price lists, especially around offer times, or you can just make one gallery in a special price list as well. So let's just do that again. In boudoir price list, we go into edit, we click on make default, we apply the changes, back to manage price lists, and we're there. If I wanted to edit anything within this pricing, you can see what it's kind of got running for it. It's got personal photographs, personal video, and so on. But if I want to go in and edit the products, I can go into here and say, okay, I don't want to offer the downloads anymore. So as far as the personal video is concerned or whatever, I would just actually remove that from the price list itself. In the paper prints, if I didn't want to offer 6.4 anymore, all I've got to do is hit the delete button, and basically what I'm selling is 10/8 and 12/8, and that's basically done. This is where we can also adjust the pricing. So I can either put it up or I could put it down if we were trying to create an affordable pricing and so on with it. And it's obviously where you go in and actually choose your different products, and you set the default either in a profit percentage, or you go in and actually say, no, I'm actually selling this for $6.50, and then it will actually show you the profit that you've got here. So I'd be earning $344.65 here based on a cost of $132.20. And then obviously this is the kind of price that I'm selling to the client. So I can either set a default profit, or I can actually set the price list itself. Right, then you would just go in and apply the changes. Go back into the manage the price lists. And if we were to go back into the client view, as it were, then basically that new price list is going to be shown. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's create a new price list. So remember where we've gone to. We've gone into selling tools. Then we go into price lists. Now we're going to go into create new. And we're going to call this Boudoir Black Friday. Okay, so we know exactly what it is. Depending on where we are in the world, we've got to choose our supplier. I'm limited that I have to use Loxley's in Scotland, which is a shame. And then we actually go into the British pound, because obviously I'm based in UK. I can allow the lab to correct the colors, that's fine. I can use suggested products and pricing as well within here. So if we just leave that on for now and we press continue, do I want to offer downloads for sale? I do. So that's going to be on. That's an option for you to do it. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So after you click create price list, your price list will be ready for your clients. All right, we're going to go in and edit it anyway. So it's just created the price list for us. Now, as you can see here, it's created a price list based on everything that I asked it to do. So in other words, it's got all suggestions here, but this is where I believe it's too much. It's way too much as far as the kind of the options are concerned. The first thing to remember is, if you say, I don't want any headache, I'm just going to kind of just do this out of the way, then the first thing I would do is definitely go in and increase the pricing of the actual the basis more than 300%. If you are happy with the 300%, say on all the wall prints and everything else, but you wanted to make sure that things like the downloads is concerned, how are you going to be pricing those? So if you went into a gallery, you can see here by default it's only showing it at 50 quid. Whereas if I want a gallery to download it and it's digital, I'm probably going to be working more on £500 or whatever it be. The negative in selling the downloads through SmugMug is we're still losing the 15%. So it's an option there though, which is good for us, okay? But really what we don't want to do is make it too cheap on here, because A, we're going to lose another 15%. And you know, 15% of nothing is nothing. So until you start selling stuff, you're really not going to make any money. So you need to price it right, as I touched on. So you've got to go into here, and then as far as a single photo as a download is concerned, this is kind of where you can see SmugMug is really set up for kind of more of a wedding photographer, resale prices perhaps, or something along that, or events photography and so on. So again, in a single photo download, if we went into here and we said it's £35, where basically the profit is going to be £24.78. Remember what I showed you before. If I want to make a profit of say £30, I type £30 in there, and then it will actually adjust it for you. Paper prints and standard sizes and so on with it. Again, you know, you can see because we took the lazy way and just selected all, it basically has put everything in here. But what we want to do straight away is go in and add in say 500% in there. So at least now it's going to really change its kind of options for us and things, yes? So if we apply the changes there, and then we go into continue editing, you can see even at the 500% basic price here, it's only being sold at £5.95 because the print cost is only 80 pence. And this is where, as far as the pricing for loose prints is concerned, you might have to enter in some drastic pricing in here to really make a difference. So you can see by the 2,500% hit in the reset pricing, we've now got a more affordable price. Except when we get up into a 30 by 20, just loose print, you can see this is where it doesn't make sense. So again, it takes a little bit of work, but let's just go to apply changes for now. Yes. And at least we know that is set. It's not the default gallery yet because we didn't click on this button. If we click on this button, make this the default price list, apply the changes, anything that had the default price list on it before is now done. Okay, so let's go into manage the price list. We're going to create a new price list and we're going to do boudoir promotion. And then we're going to go into exactly as we did, have to choose the lab supplier based where we are. Lab corrections, yes. Use suggested products. I'm going to switch that off now. I'm going to press continue. I'm going to add the 400% is fine, and I'm going to round this up to zeros. I hate the kind of the 99 or the 95. Just doesn't make sense to me. So if I go into continue now, create the price list, I've got to now go and choose the prices, the products I should say. So just going in here to begin with, if I want the personal photo downloads, I'm going to apply a gallery, and it's going to be the original, and it's going to be a single photo option as well. I'm going to go into the photo license. So this is the kind of the commercial photo license to print perhaps, but you could have changed that in the option here. So in other words, instead of the personal one here, you take that away, yes, and you would actually click on to the personal, the commercial photo license download here in the single photo again. In the personal video license, if you were selling a video like Animoto, wherever it is, you definitely include that. And then in the print price, as far as the standard's concerned, I want to be doing the likes of 9x6. I only want to sell a gloss print. I want to sell a 10/8. I want to sell a 12/8. And basically that's all I want to do on the print prices, the paper prints as it were. Obviously, if you're a square photographer and you want to actually sell squares, then you would actually just go in and select that. You can just square options here. Once more, it would be glossy 8/8, 10/10, 12/12. And then you would just go down and actually choose, say, framed images. And we definitely want to do a 10x8 box frame, 10x10, 12x10, 12x12, 16x12. 1616, 2016, 2020, 2420, 2424. Okay, and let's just kind of finish on there. Obviously, if there's other things that you want to be selling, that's really down to you. And there are kind of keepsakes in here, other kind of products like mugs and everything else with it, but they're not really relevant to a boudoir kind of business, I don't think. So if we press done now, it's at this stage, we know by default it's 400%. We know it's rounding up to zeros, but what we've got to go in now and make sure is that the pricing that we want is there. So for the gallery, once more, we want that at £500. A single photograph is going to be £35. Paper prints in here. So even though we've given it the rounded up, I'm still going in. So £20 for a 9.6. 10 by 8 is going to be £30. Obviously, you need to price things, and I definitely go and watch my kind of business building price, the prices and everything else with it and things ready. So in the same way, you've got to go in and price all these exactly like I'm doing now. There's no real shortcut around it, I'm sorry. What I am doing though is pricing up. So in other words, the 1010 is the same price as a 12.8. So it's the bigger size upwards, and just go from there. All right. And then we can go into the wall art. We can see what the prices are here. These are going to be kind of decent prices anyway. And at that point, I can just do apply the changes. And at this stage, we've made our price list. So within here now, we can see the boudoir promotion. If I want to make this the default, click onto edit, click onto make default, press apply the changes, and your galleries are done. So I hope that's helped you kind of getting started with selling on SmugMug. It's not difficult, but you do need to take that time. Once you've created the price list that is right for you and your business with it, then you can go ahead and actually create multiple price lists if you're allowed. And then you can obviously kind of change them as you want. So kind of the first 7 days you can buy at this price, then after it's going to be the default pricing and so on.